So let's continue on. So basically what we're going to do here now is fixing the position of our item. Right now you can see it's being clicked on, but what I would like is to have it exactly on this point here. If I click on this, everything matches, but the tooltip of every item should match on the position wherever it is, and there's a calculation for that. So if you have not, because this is part 2, if you have not followed part 1, check out the video here, and if you have a question or something, or if you're on the source code, check my Patreon page, and if you got a question, put it on Discord. So what we're going to do now is fixing this. So to understand this, we need to know how is chartjs calculating it, and this is how. It will calculate based on the highest point and the lowest point here, and the difference between that will be divided by 2. So let's say here, this is 1 and that's 18, so the difference is 17 points. It will divide by 2, which makes it 8.5 plus 1. So it's basically here plus 1, because the 1 is here at the bottom, or plus the lowest. That will be the correct formula. That will make it 9.5. Same logic here will be, well, let's click on that. The difference here is 10, so that will be 2 plus 5 makes 7. And you can see here we're close to the 7, so this is the logic. So what we need to do is basically calculate or create an array with these two in there, and then start to do a formula. So let's start to work on that. To do that, I have this Y click here that I'm going to remove, because this was first calculated based on the position of the mouse cursor on the Y position. As you can see here, that's how it works. I don't want that. I want to make sure it is just like chart.js. So what we're going to do here, first of all, is create a constant called the array, and we're going to create a map method. Basically, it will create an array where we are based on whatever we're going to return back. So first of all, I want to make sure I'm going to say here labels.map, and the reason why labels is basically the labels would indicate how many data points we have. You could do this one as well, but if this would have lesser data points, then this would probably be more sufficient. It has 7 data points, so everything or every data set will have 7 data points as well. All right. Once we got that, we say here label comma index, and then once we did that, function error expression, and then within here we're going to work on the remaining. So what I want to do here is first create a constant, and this constant we will call the data points, and we'll make this our object. So we have an array with every line a unique object with the values of that matching index numbers. So you'll see later on what I mean. So once we have this, the next thing what I want to do is say constant values, and to make another map method. Say data.data sets, and I'm going to say here map, because I want to loop through the data sets. And then I'm going to say here for every data set, then here we're going to say the data set.data, and then the index, just getting all of these in a array. So if I say this, console log values, you should see now they're matching with each other. We have arrays, there we are, and then they have all independent arrays with the matching values of this one and that one and this one, that one, etc., etc. All right, this is what we need, because now we can start to calculate the formula. And the formula is quite straightforward. As I said earlier, we're going to do the formula. The formula is highest minus lowest divided by 2 plus lowest. All right, so now what I need to do is I need to get the highest and lowest value of our data sets here. So what I'm going to say here, constant, let's say highest first, will be math. We're going to use the math method, and then we're going to say here max value, and I'm going to loop through the array. And so we say here in this array we use a rest operator, and then we're going to just grab that values array. There we are. Then we do the same for the lowest, but we're going to say here this will be the min value. What will happen now, we'll get the highest and lowest value, and then we can make this formula quite straightforward. So now we can do the formula. So we're going to say here, we're going to loop through, oh no, not yet, we won't be looping it yet. Let's make the formula of the y position, because that's what I need, which was what I said here. This one here would be 8 or 9.5. We're going to grab that one now. So we're going to say here, this one will be equal to highest minus lowest, then divide by 2 plus lowest. Alright, so this will give us console log of whatever the value is in between of all of these index. Save, refresh. Alright, and you can see here we're getting 9.5, 7, that is correct for this one, and etc. etc. So it gets all the numbers that I want. There we are. We have now this. So what I want to do now is I want to put, we have the highest and lowest in this array. I guess in this values array, I want to insert this one as well. So we have all these data points from high, low, and the y position in here. Or well, we don't need a high, low, but the data set. So basically these values 18 and 1 are matched together plus the y position value. So if ever you have more values, it will calculate and recalculate what is the highest and lowest of that entire array. So then what I want to do here, I'm going to say data dot data sets dot for each. And then once we're going to do here, we're going to say here for every data set, comma, data set index, function error expression, and then in here, I want to give it a proper name, and then we'll match them with whatever our data set values are. So what I'm going to say here, the data points, this should be also data points and not point, because we were going to put in every data point in there. This will be, and then I'm going to say here, and then we have here probably the backticks that we should do, and then I'm going to say here data set, then we say here $, because I want to use, I'm just going to use here the data set name, you see data set, and then the number. Very simple. So then we say here, this will be then the value, and the value will be the data set index. But then I say here plus 1, because the data set index I was 0. So we say here data set index plus 1, so there will be data set 1. That is basically this one here that we will be showing. So once we did that, let's see here, will be equal to data set dot data, then the index. It's grabbing all this information, and once we did that, all of this is done here. We want to return these values. So we're going to say return data points, and let's see what we get. So now we can do a console log for the array, and just see here, because right now I think I didn't push yet the y position in our array. We'll have to do that as well. So let's save this, and then what I'm going to do here, refresh. There we are. We're getting dataset 1 number 18, dataset 2 number 1. We could even say dataset index 0, whatever you want. However, what I would like to do here is the y position. So what I'm going to do here is to add the y position, I'm going to say here data points, and we're going to add here the y position. So we say y position, that's the text, and then we're going to say here will be equal to y position. And then of course, I think that's no need to return that one as well. Save that, refresh. We should have now the last value in here. That's it. All right, so now we have this important information. So what I want to do now is, when we have this y position, we can basically start to convert this. But I will keep this click y here, although I don't think it will have any value in here. The click y here for the hoisting is not necessary anymore, because I don't have to move or communicate whatever I did here upwards. So this does not matter anymore. So they're going to remove this, doesn't have value, because it's not anymore on mouse cursor y position. It is now just based on here what we're going to calculate. So what I'm going to do here, we can do that based on the index. I'll need this index here, so I'm just going to do before the if statement, and I'm going to say the following: click y, and then maybe we can just leave that one in there, that's fine. So just have that, or else you could say here click y equal constant click y, or let click y equals. So then what I'm going to say here, we have this value, but remember this one is like a 9.5. I need to convert this 9.5 into a pixel coordinate of our scale, specifically on our y scale. So if I click here, make sure you have this one on, and I think I already set it in here, but if it is not in here, put the y scale in there as well, or else it won't work. So then I'm going to say here y dot get the pixel for the value, and the value will be the y position. Once we got that, we can save this, and then we can refresh, and then probably if I click here now, oh, all right, the y position is not defined. All right, that's interesting. So let's see what's going on. So we have this y position here, and of course this won't work. The reason why this doesn't work is it's in an array. So that's my bad. So what I need to do here, I need to get this y position value out of that object. So what I'm going to say here, array dot, and then I'm going to say here the index. And what is the index? In this case, index is here, and then the index dot y position. So then we get it from the object, specifically then the index number of the object, and then the value with the name or the key value of y position. Now we should have it matching, and there we are. Look how beautiful this is. So if I change this, and you can see here this works. So of course the next item would be figuring out this position here and there, because they are being clipped out of the canvas. So that's what I don't want. And of course, let's see if this works if we have another array in here. Array number 3, I guess, and then we can just say here 3, 3, 3, or I'm just making it all 1, and then it should be recalculating that as well. So if I do that, does it? I'm not sure. Not fully convinced, but I will say that it is really close. Except for this one. I guess that is, I'm not sure exactly how this is being calculated, and maybe the average of the total, but I think that I will accept that flaw because it is not really a big issue here. Difference is minor. However, acceptable, and now it's time for third part, is figuring out and solving these issues here.